The piling up of metaphors, allowing them to nudge in the direction of saying what cannot be said, is helpful when describing God. I know this word metaphor gets a bad rap, right? Metaphor sounds like symbolic, not real. That's not exactly what we're doing here. But what is the standard of which metaphors are applicable and which are out? Father Himes says, every religious tradition has some fundamental metaphor for absolute mystery. They do not say that this is absolutely everything that can be said about God, but this way is the least wrong way of expressing God. The Christian absolute metaphor is agape. You know the distinction between the four loves, agape, storge, philia, and eros. The greatest of these is self-sacrificial love. The translation that Father Himes preferred was self-gift, self-giving. We know kenosis, self-emptying. Agape, a love which seeks absolutely nothing from the person or thing loved, not even gratitude or appreciation. It is simply about the good of the other. Now I'm going to give you an example of how we express God through metaphor. Shepherd, eagle, rock, fire, mother hen, groom, lover, friend, and other descriptions of God in the Bible, all aim to name characteristics and experiences of God. Each description pushes against the other, adjusting and adding to the insufficiency of each. No single metaphor offers a comprehensive understanding of God, and the paradigmatic assimilation of one, if you just take one, will necessarily be detrimental, because all metaphors must work in congruence if the most satisfactory, accurate description is to be attained. But if one of the metaphors is missing, a less accurate depiction will be deduced, and the center to which all these metaphors should point will be unsatisfactorily shifted. So if we just say, well, God is mother hen, that's the only description of God. That's problematic. But it's an accurate description, but it's insufficient. And if you get like 99 out of the 100 metaphors, good, but it's still not quite enough. So we use everything we can about our descriptions of God. Though it's relative to our language, it doesn't mean it's untrue. Sometimes there are certain expressions in the Bible that we know we can't fully comprehend. St. Paul tells us himself, just words can't articulate the glories of the heavens, and we know that language falls short. So some expressions are just how we can relate to our understanding of God. And different metaphors help us tap into this mystery. Of course, we have cataphatic traits of God call out to us. Now, think of who here? Plato. How beauty calls out to you. And that's the pull that brings you in to this unified wholeness, to pursue this unity. That's something like the cataphatic traits of God. Our experience of God, what we know about God, that calls us. That is beauty. That calls us to understand the mystery of God. Very important point to note, because when people hear us say God is mystery, it's like, well, then what's the point? Like, what are you studying? Let's just all agree no one knows anything about God, so let's just live life. Let's all be good. Well, no, when you say God is mystery, it doesn't mean you know nothing about him. And honestly, you don't just know what is cataphatic. I know it sounds paradoxical. To know that apophatic traits of God exist, but that you can't fully understand them, is different than just saying that only that which is cataphatic exists. You can experience something and know there is more to it. I mean, we do it with the simplest things. You know that you've studied mathematics and there's much more to mathematics. Just because you know something in its limited form doesn't mean you can't see or taste a little bit of that which is beyond and know that it exists. Even though you can't articulate it, you can't express it. Apophatic theology, or apophaticism, is the acknowledgement among patristics and those thereafter that God is by nature unknowable, incomprehensible, mysterious. That is apophatic theology. So the darkness of God, the unknowability of God, I cannot ever exhaust God, I cannot know him fully, that's apophatic theology. Dogmatic theology 101 is that you will never articulate fully or express or exhaust God. In his being and in his essence, he is unknowable. Cataphaticism, there are things of God that I have experienced. I know God is loving. Now, there's an apophatic element to God's love. I don't claim to know the extent of God's love. It is beyond my ability to comprehend. But I've experienced his love, and it's real. And I can say God is love. So I don't say I know nothing about God. I don't just say God is fully mystery. God is not fully apophatic. He is also knowable. He's not totally unknowable, he's knowable. The little bit that I know, I can affirm confidently. And the little bit that I don't know, I know exists.